Day one of my Yorkshire breakaway. I scooted over from Lancashire via Harrogate, where I went into Spar Cycles to pick up a couple of bits en route, which are in the bag, but the main reason was to go and visit family just outside York. And I got a surprise because my Uncle Barry, who lives in Hull, was there. So we had a nice lunch, and then we went to North Frodingham, from which my family hailed from. And it was a nice day, although the first visit was a graveyard. The Oldians are obviously feeling the age of something because, yeah, they very concerned about the state of my grandparents' headstone. There they are, Stanley Bodley Dean and Violet Gladys Dean, or Mr. and Mrs. Dean as they used to call each other, and there they are, I guess just before they retired, in the village shop. It's my Uncle Eric, who has been part of my life for a very, very long time. Second husband of my Auntie Glenda, has been an absolute rock to that family. Superman. Weird sense of humour, but lovely man. And I caught him in an unguarded moment, really showing some care and love towards the state of the headstone. I think he's planning a repair, because that's the sort of man he is. There's the Oldians, Uncle Barry, Auntie Glenda, Uncle Eric. The only person that's missing is my mum. So I thought I'd put her there just to fill the gap. As my Uncle Eric, I told you he was a funny man, decided to turn my the basket off Uncle Barry's scooter into a gladiator mask. Scary dude. This is a split stone. They seem to be concerned about the general deterioration of stones, but I just found this highly symbolic to me of faith, as that even in death the tombstones doesn't hold us down, and here it is breaking open. Reminds me of how the veil was torn in two at the temple at the resurrection or the death of Christ, and how the stones were split in two as the earth quaked because death was defeated. I need to find another photograph of this building. This building is my grandparents' old shop. It's changed a lot. Where the that hedge is on the middle was the front door, and just beyond that was to the house, and beyond that was the door to the shop. Beyond that, the last window there was the storeroom. I like looking at walls. Sorry, I'll repeat that. I like looking at walls, and you can tell a lot. So you can see the fresher bricks that have infilled what was the shop front, and you can see the lintel above it. I've been asked to think about boundaries and respecting boundaries, yet as I was looking at the house, I saw this lady, I think her name was Carol, or I'll check with my Auntie Glenda. I'm good at remembering all sorts of things, but names is something I tend to struggle with. I think this is Carol, and I just explained that the reason why I was sticking my head over her fence and taking pictures is because this is where my family were from, and she was just awesome. She let us in, and she just blethered to my uncle and aunt. Don't know where Eric went. He just seemed to evaporate in embarrassment, I think. It's just the sort of person I am. This was the old wash house to the left. This is the entrance to the rear of the property, and to the right window was the old wash house, where there was a twin drum, and the kitchen was in there. We didn't go in. Weren't invited into the house. That was fine. I think my Auntie Glenda is plotting a return. But we did get a lovely revisit of a place where I grew up as a child. I used to love coming here. And this walled garden, whatever you call it, patio, was a high, not two-story, but a tall coach house. And inside were my grandfather's old three-wheeler vans from decades that languished there ready for repair, but he'd always moved on, bought another one and never got round to fixing the old. So they're a great playground for us kids. Very beautiful now. I hear my Carol was saying there's concrete under here, so she realised that the outhouses extended quite a way, which they did. This building to the right, I haven't really captured the whole thing, used to be where my grandparents kept pigs and chickens. It was an open walled area, and that's where they kept pigs when my mother was a child, and rabbits and chickens when I was there. And the White Flowers was an orchard, and beyond that was land that's been sold since and turned into housing, but there was an old apple orchard there, very overgrown when I was a child. And just to prove the point, Piggy, Pot Piggy, was sitting in the garden. Carol talked about her son who had died through cancer and how he had loved this pig, and it serves as a reminder to him. It is a beautiful thing. And after the day of memories and thinking about past, as I watched my uncle and aunt remember people who are long gone in that graveyard, and pondering whether they're the next to fill it, who knows. But we returned to hearth and home and very large American style fridge, and Truffle, who is just gorgeous. And I went for a walk with my Uncle Eric and the dogs, Truffle and my cousin Jane's dog, and said good night, good evening, to a beautiful day over the Vale of York. Grateful, deeply grateful for the opportunity